Hello, everybody. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. This was my Facebook post from this morning. I want to share with you, and I think it's really going to blow you away. I mean, you're going to be asking yourself, how dirty are these police? And that's a very fair question. How many other murders have they been involved in? We have just a huge corruption problem here, and it's not been resolved, not been addressed. Nobody's admitted fault, and it just continues day after day after day. Here's the post. I told Rodriguez that proof was at my house, so they stole it. Matt Davis brags on YouTube that they stole the evidence and nobody will find out. This was a capital murder attempt. Rodriguez was a Midland police detective, and Matt Davis was a former Midland sergeant. They were both heavy, big actors or players in the home invasion capital murder attempt on my life on January 28, 2012. I'm going to just go over these comments here. This is going to be a short video. It says the ER nurse documents me telling MPD Detective Rodriguez that proof was at my house, and this proof was a voice recorder that had recorded the burglar alarms going off before I was shot by surprise. It proved that I was shot during a home invasion. Okay, so I have a print screen, and this is right from my medical records. I'm showing you my private medical records, okay? This is what was called the nurse assessment notes, and it was time-stamped by the computer at 11:27. I was crawled out at 10:42, so less than an hour after I crawled out, and the nurse is documenting what I'm saying in the ER, in the emergency room. Patient stated, my neighbors are breaking my house. There's sirens going off. I have tie wire around my cabinets. In closet, there's a voice recorder recording what was happening. The alarms kept going off. I had motion detectors or burglar alarms located in my attic, and they were going off over and over and over and over again. And then at 12:03, this is on January 29th, but it's only, an hour later or less. Here you can see, and I want to focus on this. I was talking on a white voice recorder in case something happens to me and saying what they were doing in my house. I have proof. Just go look. There is proof. That was at 12:03. Also at 12:03, the nurse writes, Detective Rodriguez has patient's necklace and stated she's going to give it to his brother. That's Danny. And so the question's been asked if she knew my brother in advance. That would be very interesting and a good question to ask. But the big point here, it proves that Rodriguez was in the room, and she found out that there was a voice recorder at my house that proved that I was shot during a home invasion because burglar alarms were going off. The voice recorder had recorded the burglar alarms going off, and keep in mind that these corrupt police have falsely claimed that I shot myself. Well, I didn't shoot myself with burglar alarms going off. I was under a home invasion. I had been reporting burglaries. Actually, my first call to the police for a burglary was 14 months before this night. So anyway, I want to show you that proof that I told police proof was at my house. Proof of a home invasion murder attempt was at my house, and they stole it, okay? Here's my next comment. In December 2013, my attorney subpoenaed all police records before the protective order hearing, and the informational report shows that April Chandler said that she found my voice recorder along with my 222 guns, and they were checked into evidence. Okay, so that was 22 months later when I got a hold of the information report and the evidence logs, but of course they were timestamped back, in January 2012. During the murder attempt. Okay, so this is the informational report that I didn't get till 22 months later, and here is a narrative by April Chandler, Officer Chandler, 250, and here she says, Buddy had a .22 rifle in the bedroom by the bed that was taken for safekeeping and logged into MPD evidence, as well as a single-shot revolver and the voice recorder from the closet. Okay, so at this point, 22 months later, I had proof that I told the police about the voice recorder that recorded the burglar alarms going off when I shot, and I have proof that April Chandler found it, and she stated it was logged into evidence. Okay, but what I found was it wasn't. That was a lie. April Chandler lied. Okay, so I made a point of that, a big point of that. She's still a police officer too, never been corrected, nothing. I bet she lies every day on police reports because that's who she is and that's who all these people are. These are the dirty of the dirty. And, they're an embarrassment to Texas and to all law enforcement. I believe they endanger the lives of the good police officers that don't break into homes and help murder people. Okay. This report showed that MPD Matt Davis checked in the 222 guns, but not the voice recorder. I made a big point of this, of the police stealing evidence I told them about. Okay. Now remember, proof shows I told Rodriguez proof was at my house. It was a voice recorder, recorded burglar alarms going off. Okay. Chandler said she found it and checked in the evidence, but she's a liar and she lied. Okay. We know that. Okay. And Matt Davis is the one that checked in the 222 guns. But there's no voice recorder. See, that's what I noticed on the evidence logs, that the 22s were checked in, but not the voice recorder. And there's a longer set of evidence logs. No voice recorder was on the evidence logs that I got in December 2013, 22 months after the murder attempt. I mean, and that's why I was on Facebook saying the police stole evidence that I told them about. Evidence in a capital attempted murder. Okay, I'm home minding my own business. These killers loaded their guns, drove from their home to my home, sneaked in and shot me by surprise. I mean, this is Charles Manson type people here. Okay, in 2019, I sent an online request to the City of Midland for records showing the voice recorder was in evidence, knowing in advance that it wasn't there. But to my surprise, City Attorney Gates sends me a modified evidence log showing that someone showed one piece of evidence had been scribbled out and somebody hand wrote in voice recorder and spent shotgun shells. It wasn't like this in December 2013, 22 months after the murder attempt, when we subpoenaed all the police records. Okay, so, here I sent in this online request just last year in 2019. And here I get this updated police evidence log, okay? And I did this because I was making a point that I knew the voice recorder wasn't there because I already had the evidence logs way back in 2013, 6 years earlier, okay? But what he sends me is somebody took a pen and they scribbled out this evidence like it's not there no more. Item number, whatever, 4, this whole, evidently it just disappeared, I guess that's what they're saying. Oh, it disappeared, and then they hand wrote in shotgun shell and voice recorder. Well, that's the two things I was making a point about these prove that I wasn't shot with my gun. Proof I was showing I wasn't shot with my gun means somebody came to my home and shot me. That means we got some cold-blooded killers out there breaking homes, killing people, right? I mean, can we all agree to that? If I wasn't shot with my gun, somebody else shot me, and whoever that is a dangerous criminal, right? I mean, right? Okay, so also here's these barcoded stamps. And I'm going to show you in order, because this one says item number 3, Matt Davis set of keys. Okay, I got my keys right after I got out of the hospital. Item number 4, Matt Davis, 2 spent 12-gauge shotgun shells. And that's interesting, right? Because they're saying I shot myself with my own gun, right? So there should have been an empty shell loaded in the chamber of my shotgun shell. If I had shot myself, an empty shotgun shell would have been in the chamber of my gun. So whoever got my gun and checked in my gun and the live shells that were in it would have also checked in this empty shell. But that's not what happened. And I'm going to show you that here in a minute. Okay, and then also item number 5, one voice recorder, April Chandler. Okay, now keep in mind in 2013, that piece of evidence wasn't scribbled out, and this wasn't hand wrote in there. None of this was all happened. And it was because I made a point of police stealing the evidence. Because I had found that, what had happened. And here I'm going, look at this, how criminal and corrupt these police are. This is a premeditated capital attempted murder. And it looks like they killed the guy that lived here before me, So this is multiple murders we're talking about, Okay, I'd also noticed that no spent shotgun shells were in the evidence, which was also proved that I wasn't shot with my gun. If I'd been shot with my gun, as was falsely claimed, then a spent shotgun shell would have been inside the chamber of my gun, which was picked up by CSI Marty Barrett. Barrett checked in 4 unused or live shells that were in my gun, but no empty shell. The reason is because I wasn't shot with my gun. Now, we already had proof. And remember the size of pellets are 2.5 times size is different. We have absolute proof right now, that I wasn't shot with my gun. Lisa Rogers said I was shot with a 45 handgun. There's all kinds of proof showing I wasn't shot with my gun, but this is more proof, right? Is that Marty Barrett checked in 4 live shotgun shells. Where's the empty shell? And that was the point that I was making. If I had been shot with my gun as they were falsely claiming to cover up this failed murder, then it would have been inside my gun. And Marty Barrett that said he picked up my gun, and remember, he's the crime scene investigator, right? He says, I collected evidence from the scene that included a shotgun. So he gets the shotgun and he checks in the live shells, but he don't check in no empty shell. And why? Because there isn't one there. Because I wasn't shot with my gun. These are corrupt police. They stole the evidence. 9 months ago, I get this message on my YouTube channel. From a Matt Davis with the picture, okay? And he says, I stole the evidence and nobody will ever find out, buddy. And I have the URL to his channel, and it was posted under this video, Walmart Underground Facility. So anybody can go verify. I sent this to the sheriff and the Texas Rangers. You know, here's the police officer that is suspected of stealing the evidence, the voice recorder, right? Because he checked in the 222 guns and didn't check in the voice recorder that Chandler said she found and had checked in the evidence. So it's been long suspected Matt Davis is the one that stole the evidence. And then he quit the police department just right after the protective order here in December 2013. And I was guessing that somebody at the police department figured out that he was involved in this murder attempt, and that's why he quit the police department after 12 years with the police in December 2013. Okay. Nobody accidentally breaks into a private home and accidentally shoots the owner. I think we can all agree to that, right? And the evidence is clear that I didn't shoot myself. That's a fact. This means this was a premeditated, cold-blooded murder, and I'm only alive by a miracle. I'm now disabled and living under the threat of death with crimes still being committed against me, thanks to these criminals who have been rigging private homes. This one came in yesterday, okay? This was from my YouTube yesterday. This guy comments, Thomas Murphy, now I come for you. And you can't imagine how many death threats I've got since I survived this murder attempt. And I think the main reason is because we have these corrupt police that are working for the criminals and against the law-abiding citizens and homeowners that are reporting crimes. You know, I mean, you literally may get murdered by calling the police and reporting somebody is breaking into your home. You know, that's what was my experience. What do you want to bet these same police were involved in the murder of Mike Lawhon, the young previous owner of my home that died the week before the 2008 oil show started, with conflicting reports of where he died at? The last owner of my home, when I transferred into the town, is the next unsuspecting victim. Okay, he dies on October 12th, 2008. The Odessa American newspaper in Odessa on the 14th posts that he died in Fort Worth. 4 days later, the Odessa American posted a second death notice, and they changed the location of death to say he died at his residence. Okay? Well, that wasn't by accident. There was some reason, and I think the reason is because Mike was killed here and taken to Fort Worth. My neighbor, Marilyn DeLucci, told me twice Mike died in my home, and that was confirming what the Odessa American said on their second death notice. Both of these were posted on the internet for about 12 years, and within the last couple months, the Odessa American deleted this one here. So now if you Google it, you only find one of them. But that only happened the last couple months. For 12 years, they were both there. I made videos about them, got screenshots on them, because I believe that Mike Lawhon, the previous owner of my home, was murdered, and taken to Fort Worth, and probably by the same people that killed me, and it might be these police, that are caught lying on police reports, tampering with evidence. Okay, these are the names of the former secret police. Okay, remember, I get home from the hospital after I survived this home invasion murder attempt. I'm shot by surprise in my home, and I find pictures of these police on my cameras, and I order the police report, and I don't get any reports showing who they are. I didn't know they were illegally withholding the police report from me. Okay, so I send the pictures to the mayor and the city council and the chief of police and the attorney general. Nobody will name them. I finally offer a $2,000 reward to anybody that will identify the secret police. I called them the first known secret police since Nazi Germany. I mean, I made videos and it went around the world viral, of the secret police in Midland, Texas, right? And so in 2018, 6 years later, Empire Private Investigations named all 11 of them that were caught on camera. Here they are: Rodriguez, Chandler, Chatwell, Dickey, Barrett. Okay. And then here's Woodward, a Martin County sheriff. This is Midland County. Nobody's ever explained that. First one at my house. Mike Naylor, he died in 2014, and the public wasn't even told that he was the secret police that I paid to get identified. Chad Simpson was the police officer that murdered his wife, killed himself 2 months after Naylor died. And once again, the public has never been told that Chad Simpson was the secret police that I paid to get identified, was caught on camera in my house. Greg Nelson, Mark Gilliam, Michael Glick. These were the 11 that the private investigator identified from the pictures. Okay. Well, the next year in 2018, I get a police report. Okay. And come to find out they'd been withholding the thing for 7 years. Okay. And because it contained incriminating evidence. Okay. And so here's the same 5 at the top that were on, they were listed and they were caught on camera and identified. Okay. Chandler, Rodriguez, and them. Okay. These 5, though, they're listed on the police report and they're not identified or not caught on camera. Matt Davis, Dylan Hale, Joe Ramirez, Kenny Angel. Now remember, Matt Davis is the one that was bragging that he stole the evidence on YouTube, okay? And it looks like that's who stole the evidence, okay? Police report from 2/120, that's a separate entry into my home, okay? And that was going to be the only known entry because they were hiding the police report for the first entry and they tried to display the camera and accidentally started it. They never planned on anybody catching them in my house, seeing them staging the crime scene. And this was going to be the only known entry into my home. And the only person that is common to all of the entries is Rosa Rodriguez, the lifelong friend of my ex-wife that is alleged to be involved in the shooting. But also there's Brian Racco, Dylan Hale. Actually, Dylan Hale is down there, so he was another one. I take that back. Joe Ramirez, he's down there too, and Todd Stanley. So I take that back. That Dylan Hale, Joe Ramirez. Rodriguez is the only one on the first entry and the second entry caught on camera. Okay, so now we know who the secret police are, and the questions asked, were all of them involved in this premeditated home invasion capital murder attempt, or were just some of them and the other ones were conned, and so I mean they're all going to be witnesses, right? And some of them are suspects for a capital attempted murder. I think we can all agree to that. My friend told me about a young girl that was murdered at a party going on during the 2010 Permian Basin International Oil Show because she didn't want to prostitute. I believe these parties were held in a $1 million underground home, said to be here by multiple people, including the recent candidate for sheriff, Joe Lozano. She was afraid to report this murder and told me that high-level police were also there. I've long suspected the former secret police that were caught on camera in my home after the murder attempt on my life were also those at the underground oil show party in 2010. In 2013, the remains of a 14 to 21-year-old was found outside of Midland. Okay, there's a Crime Stopper on it right now. I've contacted Kreiner and the Rangers many times about this because it's very possible, and that my friend was at that party where this girl was murdered in 2010. I believe it's this girl that was found in 2013. Okay, she was afraid to report it and said the high-level police were at the party. Well, it makes sense that some of them police were the secret police that were caught at my house because I believe that party was going on in an underground home near my home. Okay, and so here is a 14 to 21-year-old girl. Homicide is suspected. And so this young girl, she's got a family. Someday her parents are going to stand up, or sister, brothers, whatever. And I hope they get to face these people that have been keeping these underground homes secret, and tell them the pain that they've caused their family when their daughter was murdered. Okay. Google Maps shows some large facility in my backyard on the map screen that can't be seen from above ground. I believe this is where the oil show parties were going on in 2010 and where MPD officers Davis, Dickey, Chatwell, Angel, L, Woodward, Naylor, Rodriguez, Chandler were out on the night I was ambushed and shot with my phone lines cut. Okay, and so you can do this right now. Go to maps.google.com, put in 3802 Fair Circle, and then just switch between the map screen and the satellite screen. And on the map screen, it shows a large bunker in my backyard. Okay, see it? On the satellite screen, there ain't nothing shown above ground. And I recorded a woman telling me there were 4 3-bedroom underground homes, 25 foot deep. I believe that's one of them. I believe that's where the oil show parties were going on. And that's probably where that little girl was murdered at in 2010. And I also believe that's where these police officers that come into my home from under my home, Davis, Dickey, Chadwell, Angel, and L. They wasn't seen arriving on my security cameras. That meant they come in the now removed trap door where I had been shot from. They are the top suspects, for my top suspects to be the shooter, But of course, we have no proof which one shot me or somebody else shot me and they were called or whatever. But I'm guessing they were in that underground facility. They were under my home and it was police that tried to, because they're the ones that falsified evidence, tampered with the evidence, and lied on police reports. Okay, and here's just some proof. A woman recorded saying there was underground homes here. Rhonda Denman Rogers was documented saying one of the underground homes was a half block away. Layla O'Brien said she worked on this safe house project, which cost $7.35 million and was finished in 1987. I have a print screen of that. And then, of course, Sheriff candidate Joe Lozano told me that the underground homes was the hideout for the late Sheriff Gary Painter. And that's another, wondered if one of the high-level police that my friend was afraid of was Painter. That makes sense, right? And after I returned from the hospital, I found pry marks on the inside top door jamb of my bathroom door. That was one of the doors I tie wired shut. And that told me that an unknowingly trapped a burglar in this room before the murder attempt. I'm guessing that one of the secret police shot me. Here, let me read that. I'm guessing it shot me in an attempt to free this burglar since they had been caught in the commission of a felony. That would be a burglary of habitation. I told my story to FBI duty agent last year, and he pulled this picture up on his phone without me telling him about it. Obviously, he knew it showed what had happened. This trapped burglar may have been how they tried to justify this premeditated capital attempted murder. Okay. At 11:03, April Chandler, she's filling out an emergency detention form, and she writes, Mr. Webb, due to his paranoia, caused himself to suffer a gunshot wound. And I'm guessing that her reference of trying to blame me for somebody breaking into my home and shooting me by surprise is that I trapped a burglar in that bathroom. And of course, I didn't know it, but I had been reporting burglaries for over a year, multiple calls for these burglaries. I've since made 100 videos of burglars going to my house, documented homeowners all over Midland, Odessa, Texas, and other states reporting people in the attic, the same crimes I was reporting before, during, and after I was ambushed and shot. And so that's what it looks like. It looks like that duty agent, FBI duty. See, he refused to give me his name. That FBI agent did when I went, and his homeland told me to go there. Oh, they're not dirty anymore. Yeah, bull crap. And here we go again. I can't find a good cop. I mean, this ought to be cut and dry, clear. Let's stop some murders. I mean, how much evidence do you need right here? This Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.